What's up, everybody? Good morning. I know we're all in a football mood right now. I know we're all getting ready for these early games, getting ready for the Seahawks game in about 4 hours, 4.5. But I do want to make a video about this real quick, and there's not really a whole lot to talk about Seahawks wise. We have a game, and either we're going to win or we're going to lose, and then we're going to talk about it. Quick reminder, I will be live streaming this game unless something changes, but I do plan on doing a watch along stream for this game, so Hank, stop on by later today, and we're going to have some fun. We're going to see how it works, and if things go well, we may do it again later this year. But this video, it's another Mariners video. I made my Mariners video yesterday, but I didn't mention this because it wasn't particularly germane to the state of the team going into the final few games of the year. Obviously, yesterday was actually a huge day for the Mariners. We won, Baltimore lost. We probably should have lost our game, and Baltimore probably should have won their game, so it was a massive turnaround. But the other reason why it was a huge, huge day was this extension, which was announced a little before the game. And if it weren't for the fact that people are so stressed out right now about the Mariners trying to get into this playoff spot, it would probably be much bigger news. Like, I barely thought about this yesterday just because I was still so kind of strung out because the team isn't playing very well right now. And we've got 11 games left now, and you just have to hope that people snap back into place before the playoffs start, because playoffs are over quickly. So I do want to talk about this extension, though, because it is a big deal. Luis Castillo has agreed to a 5-year, $108 million extension with the Mariners, plus there's a potential 6th year that could increase the value of the contract to, like, I think it was $133 million. But either way, the contract is approximately the same. It's a 5-year deal worth $22 million, $23 million a year on average. And I'm just going to say it. I'm actually really thrilled with this. I don't think there's anything to be disappointed in or upset in or even mildly concerned about with this contract. This is beautiful. This is awesome. And honestly, I don't really know how we did it. If you look at some other pitcher contracts, which I will do in this video for a minute, I don't really know how we did this, but we did it, and I'm feeling really good about where our future is headed. It may inhibit our ability to sign other players or re-sign other players, but here we are, and Luis Castillo is going to be here at a rate lower than what I was expecting. The reason why I say that is, pretty obviously, you look at other top pitchers who have gotten top contracts in the MLB, and they're worth a lot more than this. Garrett Cole is at the top of the list. He's obviously the gold standard, $325 million. Now, I wasn't expecting Castillo to get anything like that. He's probably not on the level that Garrett Cole was at when he got that contract. But you look at Castillo, you try to understand what he is as a player. 2-time All-Star. He had another season where he didn't make the All-Star game, but actually had a really good season. He just only played in 12 games. He's been mostly on a pretty bad team, especially in recent years, with the Reds not being a strong team. Ever since he got into the league and started pitching at a high level, which was 2019, he's never gone above a 4 ERA. At the time we traded for him, he was having a really good season. His ERA was below 2.9 on a really bad Reds team, by the way. And we were able to acquire him. Since he's gotten to Seattle, he's been really good. 2.8 ERA, and most of the problems that Castillo has had since he got here, I think, can be blamed on a third party. I'll talk about that in a minute here, but this is a pretty impressive resume. This guy's 29. He's going to be 30 next year, and by the time this contract is up, he's going to be, 35? So not at all unreasonable to think he's going to continue to be a really good pitcher for the duration of this contract. So looking at what you're getting here for this $108 million contract, and keep in mind that almost all of his bad starts in Seattle have come with, I believe it's either Casale or possibly Torrens catching him. When I can't remember the exact stat, but it goes something like this: when Cal Riley is catching him, his ERA is like 1.08. It's Cy Young tier. It's Walter Johnson, Randy Johnson, greatest of all time tier. When Casale or I think Torrens is catching him, basically anyone who isn't Cal Riley, it's like 5.8. So basically, I think there's something going on with that catcher thing where Kurt Casale, you see a similar effect with some of our other pitchers. The dude just can't call a game from behind the plate. So I think Castillo would actually be looking a lot better right now if he was getting more consistent support from the catcher. And we've seen what he can do when he has his dude, and his dude has now become Cal behind the plate. So I think these numbers underestimate him. So understand what we're getting for that 108 million and consider a couple players here. I'm going to talk about Zach Wheeler. This is a player who signed a contract 3 years ago with the Phillies that was very similar, actually a little bit more than what Castillo got. It was like 5 years, 122 million. Very similar, but actually a little bit more. And what had he done to earn that extension? Or it wasn't an extension because he was signed from the Mets, but really, I mean, he had never been below a 3 ERA. He had never made an all-star game. He had played in a lot of games. He had made 60 starts over the previous 2 years, but his best season, his ERA was 3.3. Good, not great. He had never broken 12 wins. He was never 200 plus innings. He was a good pitcher, and he's become a better pitcher since getting to Philadelphia, admittedly. He's actually had 3 seasons below a 3 ERA now, so he's rounded into form for sure. But based on his play with the Mets, he got that contract without ever really showing that he could be an elite pitcher. And by the way, he also missed 2 years. He didn't pitch at all in 2015 or 2016. And you just look at it and you go, if that's worth 122 million, Castillo's probably, especially 3 years later, he's probably worth 150, 160 million. And what about Robbie Ray? I think we know firsthand here. We signed him to that big contract last year. Very similar age. He was coming off his age 29 season. And yeah, he was incredible that year in 2021. 2.84 ERA. I think he was the strikeout king. Almost 200 innings. But before then, it's up and down. 2020, he was not good at all. 2019, very forgettable. Pretty good in 2018, but not stellar. And he was awesome in 2017. Like up and down. There's some great stuff, but there's also some real problems. And at his best, he's probably been about as good as Castillo over his Arizona and Toronto career. But his worst is significantly worse. And Robbie Ray got 5 years, 125. And that's what it took to get him at the end of the day, by the way. I'm not saying I dislike that contract. And I think that going forward, he will be approximately worth that contract because there were some things going on with his game earlier in the season that needed to get ironed out, that have mostly been ironed out. But the bottom line is, you're paying Castillo less. So yeah, awesome contract. As far as I'm concerned, I actually don't really know how you got him for 22 mil a year. And I'm happy about it. Maybe there's something going on here that I don't know about. Maybe there's some consideration here that I'm not making. But I just look at the contract Zach Wheeler got 3 years ago in a roughly similar situation age-wise with much less production and much less elite play. And then I see we gave Robbie Ray considerably more after a career that was occasionally about as good as what Castillo brought you in his best years, but was often actually a lot worse. And I go, yeah, we did great here, guys. And now at this point, with Castillo and Ray locked up for the next half decade, roughly, I don't know if the money is there for guys like Logan and Kirby when they come up. But you know what? We can worry about that when that comes up. That's a ways away. Those guys are going to be here for a little while longer. We can worry about it then. Obviously, now that we've made this great extension, which I'm absolutely thrilled about, we got to focus on this offense this offseason. We need to probably upgrade either shortstop, second base, or both. And we need to make some decisions about guys like Haniger, Winker, and maybe Frazier as well. Those guys have a lot to prove in the last couple weeks here and whatever playoff run we put together. But now we don't have to worry about pitching so much. Maybe a little bit of bullpen work, but seems like the bullpen always works out for us, right? At the end of the day, we put together a great bullpen even when we lose key pieces. So it's done. We don't have to worry about trading for somebody for a year and a half. We have traded for a guy who has proven time and time again that he's worth much more than this contract. And I'm happy. I'm really happy. Now we just got to go out there, finish this playoff run. And let me know what you guys think down below. But I'm going to say it. I'm surprised. I thought he was going to be more in that 140 million range at least, maybe even 150. So nothing but good vibes for this one. All right, I'll see you guys later. Go Mariners. Have fun watching baseball today. Hopefully the Mariners can win. We put a little more distance between us and Baltimore, and it's basically a done deal, but we got to do it. All right, see you guys later.